Okay, let's try a little thought experiment. Imagine a painting so famous, so important, that it just vanished. I don't mean tucked away in some vault. I mean gone. Completely gone, leaving nothing but stories behind. Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the incredible, true stories of masterpieces that history has lost. And that really gets to the heart of what we're talking about today. I mean, think about it. Can you really get the full picture of art history if some of its most important, game-changing pieces are totally missing? So, we're going to go on a hunt for these cultural ghosts. You see, their absence tells its own fascinating story. A story that really makes you think about what we value and what happens when those things disappear forever. All right, let's get into it. It's time to open up the case files on some of art history's most famous missing persons. First up, Rembrandt's The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. And this one really hurts. Because get this, it was Rembrandt's only seascape. It was famously snatched during the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist in 1990, and even after all this time, it's never been seen again. Just gone. Next, we have Raphael's Portrait of a Young Man, an absolute masterpiece. This piece was looted by the Nazis during World War II, and in 1945, it just disappeared. We have no idea what happened to it. All we have are these old black and white photos that only hint at how incredible it must have been. And for our third case, The Just Judges. Now, this wasn't even a standalone painting. It was a critical panel from the massive, world-famous Ghent altarpiece. It was stolen way back in 1934, and the theft became this huge national obsession in Belgium. But to this day, it has never, ever been found. So we've met our victims. Now let's switch gears and play detective. Who are the usual suspects behind these incredible vanishing acts? Well, whenever a masterpiece goes missing, the cause almost always boils down to one of four things: the pure chaos of war, a random natural disaster, someone destroying it on purpose, or, good old-fashioned theft. Let's talk about one of the most interesting suspects, iconoclasm. This isn't just someone randomly breaking things. No, this is the deliberate, targeted destruction of art, usually for heavy-duty religious or political reasons. It's about erasing symbols that a movement considers dangerous or wrong. But let's be real, war is probably the biggest, baddest culprit on the list. The damage it does is just devastating. It can wipe out entire artistic legacies in the blink of an eye. We saw it happen to the ancient sites in Palmyra, Syria, and with countless other treasures that get stolen during conflicts. We lose the art, and we lose a piece of our own story. And then, of course, there's the art world's dark underbelly, the black market. This illicit trade just swallows masterpieces whole. They end up hidden away in some secret private collection, completely cut off from the world. They're stripped of all their meaning, and for all intents and purposes, they just don't exist anymore. But here's a weird question. Does gone actually mean forgotten? Let's take a look at the strange afterlife of these lost works and how these ghosts continue to both haunt and inspire us. And this really gets to the core of it, doesn't it? There's something so compelling about what's missing. The deep mystery of art that just isn't there anymore. It grabs our imagination in a way that art we can see every day sometimes doesn't. But here's where things get really cool. Technology is now giving these ghosts a new voice. Through something you could call a digital resurrection, experts are like historical detectives. They dig through old records and sketches, then use incredible digital tools to reconstruct the art. And finally, they let us experience these lost masterpieces in virtual and augmented reality. It's a fascinating trade-off, right? We lose the physical paint, the actual canvas the artist touched, but in exchange, we get something that isn't vulnerable anymore. The art goes from being lost forever to being digitally reborn for absolutely everyone to see. But hey, this story isn't all just pixels and VR headsets. The real-world hunt is still very much on. There are teams of people, modern art recovery organizations, working around the clock to track down these physical treasures and bring them home. The search is not over. So, all of this brings us to one final huge question. What about the legacy of absence itself? What does it all mean in the end? 13. That's how many artworks were stolen from the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum that night in 1990. Decades have passed, and to this day there are empty frames still hanging on the walls where the paintings should be. It remains one of the art world's greatest, most painful, unsolved mysteries. And those empty spaces on the walls, they do more than just hold a place. They force us to ask a really tough question. What does it mean for us, for our society, when our artistic heritage gets stolen or destroyed? What part of ourselves do we actually lose along with it?
Thinking about this kind of loss is really a call to action. It's a huge reminder that protecting our shared culture isn't a passive thing. It takes all of us being vigilant, advocating for the arts, and truly committing to protecting the creativity that helps define who we are. Ultimately, maybe the power of these lost masterpieces now lies in their silence. Their absence is this constant nagging reminder of all the stories that we'll never get to hear, leaving a space that only our own curiosity and imagination can fill. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. Which do you think is actually more powerful? The art we can physically stand in front of and look at, or the haunting, endless stories of the art we can never, ever see?